I have a few ideas. What I'm also potentially thinking that it may be is the defeat of Kizaru. What's up, guys? Gabe D Champ. We're back to break down One Piece chapter 1089, and let's get into it. So this chapter has definitely done a lot more for the story than most people think, because of the fact that it felt almost like a little bit of a recap or kind of a catch-up chapter of what's going on around the world. But One Piece has a lot of aspects that people love, like the action, the comedy, the adventure, the mystery, the drama, the power scaling, of course, and the storytelling. But to me, one of the biggest things about the story that I love is world building. The world of One Piece is so alive. One of my favorite parts are typically when we get chapters like this, where we get to see the reactions around the world of whatever events that were taking place and the effects that it's having on the people. The fact that the story has been going on for so long and has been so consistent with the story and the timeline, and its characters just keep evolving with the story, is just top tier storytelling to me. We were introduced to Enies Lobby over 800 chapters ago, and it was a mystery that had most people theorizing till this day. And the fact that we're finally actually getting a potential explanation for it. If you want to talk about setups and payoffs, Oda is the king. This is why they call him Goda. But anyway, last review, I mainly talked about the chapter and the hype about the Straw Hats finally being back into the story. But there was definitely a lot more that we could break down and we can get from there if we put everything together that we've gotten so far in the Egghead arc. So One Piece is cyclical. If you haven't noticed, there are a lot of arcs from pre and post time skip that mirror each other. Basically, the same things may happen, but either on a larger scale, or things may be inverted, or sometimes we'll get like an opposite conclusion or different characters that may be involved. The most popular, or I should say like the most noticeable parallel, is between Alabasta and Dressrosa. Dressrosa is basically what would happen if Crocodile has succeeded in taking over Alabasta. But there's definitely a lot more parallels in the story. Another example would be Water 7 or Enies Lobby kind of mirrors Whole Cake Island. In Water 7, Robin left the crew to protect them from the world government. And in Whole Cake Island, Sanji left the crew to protect them from a Yonko. But anyway, the point is that history repeats itself. I think that will happen on a much larger scale when we get to the end. Because what I actually think is everything that's happening in the story right now was actually what happened during the Void Century. Or something similar, I should say. So this entire story of One Piece could literally be an inversion or some type of parallel of what happened during the Void Century. But we're not going to get into that today. We're definitely going to save the Void Century theories for a whole nother video. But I definitely just wanted to share that I do believe that this most likely has happened before in regards to an island being completely erased and a hole being left where it was. And that's most likely where Enies Lobby is. And so since we're also experiencing an earthquake, and they said that an earthquake of this magnitude hasn't happened in recorded history, it's pretty much safe to assume that it most likely happened in the history that we know was erased. So likely in the Void Century, something like this happened, and there were crazy earthquakes and rising sea levels. But to get back to the parallels though, you can see a lot of parallels with this arc and Sabaody. Also some with Marineford, but mainly we wanted to start with Sabaody. If you guys can remember, Sabaody pretty much like set up the Marineford saga, and this is pretty much setting up the final war. We also have similar characters that are involved like Kizaru and Sentomaru. But after Sabaody, we saw that the Straw Hats weren't ready, and I think right now we're seeing the inversion of that. They are ready now. Kid and Law, on the other hand, after Sabaody, they were safe and pretty much went on to the New World, but this time it was inverted because now they suffered the same devastation that the Straw Hats face, where their crew was pretty much decimated. Characters that were friends are now enemies, and enemies have become allies. If you look at Sentomaru going against Kizaru, and then now we have Lucci who's helping out the Straw Hats. Everything's pretty much upside down. So even though the arcs are similar, there are extra pieces and X factors that we have to also think about. So even though the arcs are similar, these X factors are what basically make the arcs completely different to its pre-time skip counterpart. So for example, with Dressrosa, there were multiple ones, but one of the major ones was the formation of the Grand Fleet. Nothing like that happened in Alabasta. As a matter of fact, the one person that we thought was actually going to join the crew, Vivi, decided to stay to continue to be a ruler at Alabasta. In this arc, we've definitely got multiple X factors. So, for example, we've got the Blackbeard pirates that are making their way to Egghead, or they potentially could already be there, because I think when we saw when they were arriving, it might have been the day before. So we're not 100% sure where they are yet. And then we also have Caribou, who has yet to show any relevance, but we know that he's got a lot of information. There may be a connection between the two of them, since we don't know who Caribou is actually working for in regards to like who he's planning to share the information about the ancient weapons that he knows. But I think it's most likely is Blackbeard. Most of us feel like we've narrowed it down to either Blackbeard or Crocodile, who's now with the Cross Guild, because we know that Crocodile was also very interested in attaining the ancient weapons. But I'm leaning towards Blackbeard, since the Blackbeard pirates are on their way to Egghead right now, and how else would they have known to go there? Most likely it's Caribou, because Caribou is there and he told them that the Straw Hats were there, and he also has a lot of information about ancient weapons, so most likely they're coming to pick him up. But if I were to speculate what else is actually going to happen, even though the Straw Hats pretty much off-screened everything that happened, I think we are going to get a flashback at some point that's going to show the Straw Hats, figuring everything out, how they found the Stella and York, how they were able to stop the Seraphim and return everyone back to normal, like the people who returned to stone. And then as well as we may go a little bit more in detail about the plan to set up York to call the Gorosei, because this whole scene that we're getting set up with this phone call definitely had to have some thought into it. In regards to what else is going to be going on, I don't think the government can win here, but I don't think that they're going to take a complete loss either. The fact that the weapon has yet to be revealed leads me to believe that the weapon that they're using may be activated one more time. So in order to do that, the lab can't be destroyed yet, unless Vegapunk has another lab, which is definitely possible. But either way, York or another Vegapunk will create another Mother Flame so that we can see how this weapon is used. So the bigger question that most people are having is, what will be the event that is going to shock the world? So I was kind of going back and forth about it. I was initially thinking that it would have to involve Vegapunk, but I don't think so, because I'm not sure if the world really knows that much about Vegapunk and the threat that he actually poses to the government, because of the fact that the Vegapunk has the knowledge about the Void Century and a lot of the knowledge that is forbidden. So if anything, right now the government is keeping a lot of that under wraps, and if anything, they're trying to make the Straw Hats look bad, that they want to try and kidnap Vegapunk. I have a few ideas. What I'm also thinking that it potentially may be is the defeat of Kizaru. In regards to what is happening right now around the world, they've already gotten the news that the legendary hero Garp has gone missing. I believe that if one of the great powers of the Marines has been defeated, and we also know about Cross Guild and all these other things that are going on, it would definitely shock the citizens of the world that the Straw Hat crew are on another level, and they're taking out the Marines along with Cross Guild. So we have 3 Yonko crews that are all making moves against the government. Blackbeard's crew, Luffy's crew, and Cross Guild, and it's just going to start to make it look like the Gorosei and the world government are starting to lose control. If you guys remember back during the setup for the Marineford arc, a lot of people feared when Whitebeard's crew were going to go up against the world government, because the world government has been keeping the status quo for so long that the people are afraid of change and afraid of what the pirates are going to be able to do if they're the ones that were to win this war. And I also thought about the potential for Saturn to be defeated, but I don't think that's going to happen here. There will be some type of reveal. I think that if the world were to find out that one of the 5 elders also had to be here for this event and to try and take down Luffy and was unsuccessful, that may play a role in the shock as well. But like I said, I don't think the government is going to take a complete loss here. So I do think it's possible that they end up with one of the Vegapunks, because they need to recreate another Mother Flame, like I was saying, so they can use the weapon one more time. I also think that Kizaru most likely will be defeated and the Straw Hats are going to escape with the Stella. But we still have the Seraphim that are going to play a role. Not sure which side they're going to be, but most likely I'm assuming that they will still be with the world government. I don't think that they're going to lose all of their powers just yet. They definitely will be a major player in the final war. So the Seraphim are going to definitely play a part. But yeah, guys, that definitely wraps up this video. Definitely want to keep this too long. I have a lot of thoughts, but we're going to definitely save it for another video for the Final War setup, as well as another video talking about what happened during the Void Century. But I'm definitely curious as to what you guys think. What do you think is going to happen coming up in the next few chapters, and how the Egghead arc is going to end? This has definitely been one of the greatest arcs so far in the story, with everything that's been going on and the setups that we're getting for all of the Yonko. And now that Luffy is a Yonko, for him to actually be one of the major candidates for becoming the king of the pirates. But yeah, guys, don't forget to leave a comment below on what you guys think. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It's your boy Gabe D Champ. Peace.